This is a video that I've been looking forward to all week. I thought of it as soon as I finished my B-movie video that I wanted to do like the rat lair from Ratatouille, but I didn't want to do it so soon after I published that video. I kind of wanted to give it time to do another like movie pop culture themed thing. So now it's been a week. I'm going to publish this video on Tuesday night, so it'll be exactly 7 days since my since my B-movie video came out, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be making the rat cave lair from Ratatouille. I'm thinking about not doing the one where they live for most of the movie, the one kind of at the end, because you don't really ever get to see that one in full. I'm doing the one that they escape from at the beginning, the one that's above that lady's house, like above her kitchen in the roof, because there's a lot of action in that scene where you can see the different parts of this lady's house, and hopefully I can model a little bit of that in Townscaper. And then on the roof, or under the roof, then I can make kind of the whole like rat colony thing. So that should be pretty cool. Now, to do that, I first have to go and watch the movie. I don't really have access to the movie, but my brother's girlfriend is Disney Plus, so I'm going to take some screenshots from that. Actually, maybe they won't even let me take screenshots. Well, anyway, I'll do some research, and then I'll come back to the video, and I'll make this whole build. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so now it's time to define the perimeter of the house. That's the first step, basically, before I can start on any of the furniture, any of the rat stuff, is basically getting the general shape of the house right. I think I want to use this area here, this kind of star shape, as maybe a little central smoke vent or something. I think that would look really cool. And apart from that, I kind of have no plans. I know that I want to make as large of a space as possible, just so I could fit as much as possible, because there's a lot of detail that's going to go into the interior part of the house, but I'm not exactly sure how I want to do that. I know that I want the edge to be as smooth as possible, so I want it to follow a straight curve kind of like this, but it might be kind of hard to find one that goes all the way, you know, across the whole map, especially crossing a section like this over here, where there's not really a clear straight path through. But it looks like if I want to have this at this kind of general center, maybe I can start with this line here, just getting that set. Oh shoot, there's a corner there. No, I'll have to go one level below. So cut it across like this. I'm just filling in these lines just to make sure. Oh shoot. And then, should that be the corner, or should I keep going? Let's keep going for now. Okay, so I think that's actually pretty good for kind of a general outline. Let me delete these right here, because this is, or maybe that wasn't, maybe that was actually right. Okay, so here I have a general outline of what I want the house to be. Kind of this shape right here. It's obviously not a perfect rectangle, but hopefully I can build maybe kind of like a overhang right here, a front door type of thing, to hopefully reconcile that a little bit. So now I have the long step, the hard step, of filling in basically all the floor tiles on the inside of this building. Okay, so there we go. That's the interior of the house. Now, I'm not totally positive, do I want the green on the inside? Because that could kind of simulate like a rug or something. Or do I want to just leave it basically as the asphalt? I think I want to leave it as the asphalt because if I make it green, when I build things on the inside, it'll create garden paths between them, which I don't really want. And so I think what I want to do is kind of keep the gray color so it can be just a stone floor, simple kind of cottage type thing. The first thing I want to do, let's see, is probably, this would be a pretty good place for the countertop because it looks like there's a pretty smooth area. So then the TV can maybe be somewhere over here. The chair can be facing it. Yes, the chair can kind of be like over here like that. The kitchen, or the TV can be over here. Maybe there can be one more thing over here, just some random object. And the countertop can follow the curvature of this wall here. And then maybe there could be like a fridge and just random junk around the kitchen. And then I'll make windows later. Perfect. Okay, and then the rat colony can be on top of everything. Let's get that going. And then maybe the front door, the front door can be right here because there can be a little overhang over it in the little doorway right there. So eventually I'll probably make that a different color, but for now, let's just keep it how it is. Perfect. So let's start with the chair. The chair, from what I remember, is kind of a bluish green color. So let's make it like this. Delete what I have already, and then maybe that's too big. I can kind of, yeah, the back of the chair could be higher, and the sides can be lower, like the arms of the chair, kind of like that. And then maybe let's, is that tall enough? Maybe the back should be taller. Okay, yeah, so that's the chair, and then the TV is going to be kind of a neutralish shade, I guess. So it's probably 2 layers thick, because it's a pretty old looking TV from what I remember. And maybe this green should be blue, just because maybe I can kind of pretend it's depicting something in the middle. So let's build it up to a kind of higher level, and then we'll carve out a little square in the middle to be blue. Like that. Okay, so that's the TV. And I actually probably wanted to have a flat top. So let's make the TV go right up against the wall like this. Like that, just so it's got a flat top on the top. And then over here, maybe, what should be, so this is the front entryway, the doorway is here. Let's carve out a little space for the doorway just so I leave. Make sure I know where it is for later building. Yeah, if that's the doorway, maybe a little bit wider actually. Perfect, that's the doorway. I'll make a closet. Let's have this be a closet. So this can kind of come out like this. Or you know, this house doesn't have a bedroom. Okay, so I'm going to make like the tiniest bedroom possible right in this corner. See if it'll work. I mean, the lady is so small, so she can kind of fit wherever. Okay, so that'll be the door to the bedroom, and the bedroom will have a bed, basically. I mean, obviously. So the bed can be have maybe a red comforter on top, and it can fill the entire room. Oh, no, you actually won't be able to see the color of the bed, just because it'll be, if you want to see the side, we can make it kind of a twin bed, so make it kind of thin. You know, that actually does kind of look like a bed, because the shade of the roof changes a little bit depending on what tile is underneath it. And so this is a whiter shade, this is a redder shade, and if you kind of squint your eyes, it looks a little bit like a made bed. So honestly, that's really not ideal, but that's kind of fine. Let's make a second layer and then kind of be done with that section. Or no, actually, let's make 3 more layers, but then 2 more layers in the pillow so that the comforter can kind of be above the pillow area. That's a good idea. Maybe the pillow can be a little bit elevated. Like that. And then the area underneath can be a normal wooden color. Oh shoot, it makes that. What if I added this? No, it still makes that. I mean, I could build out a little bit, but that kind of wouldn't make sense with the way the bed looks. Maybe the pillow can be in the middle of the bed like that. Okay, that's... Wow, that does not look good. Okay, let me delete this top layer here. Okay, honestly, that looks pretty horrendous, but that's really not the focus of this build. The focus of the kitchen, really, and the rat colony, so let's just cover that up and kind of pretend it doesn't exist. You know what? I hate this bedroom so much, I'm gonna build a door right in the middle of the doorway. It's just so I don't have to look at it anymore. Perfect. And then maybe you can have, what color doorknob? Like a brass doorknob? No, that's actually too close to the edge. Maybe, or even that's too close to the middle. Yeah, I guess it's fine if it's too close to the edge. Like that. Okay, that's the little doorknob on the room. And then, okay, now we can focus on the fun part. That's the kitchen. So the kitchen is the main part of the house. I'm assuming because this lady has so many ingredients, she must also love cooking. So let's make it kind of filling out the rest of this whole area. I'm not totally positive if she is an island, like a kitchen island. So I might not build one, depends on if I have room at the end. You know, from what I remember, the kitchen island... Actually, you know, I'm not even remembering it correctly, and I'm not even going to check. I'm just going to say the kitchen island... It doesn't have solid cabinets around most of it. Most of it is just the tables against the wall. So these can be the legs of the tables. And then I'll delete these lower levels right here. At least for this part of the kitchen. And the lady kind of short, so maybe we can make the table kind of short as well. This section can be more of like a sink area, kind of the center of the kitchen. And so this section can have maybe a solid bottom, because that's kind of like cabinets. So the cabinets can be kind of this dark, gross color, just because the whole scene is that really kind of grayish, greenish, brownish, rainy day. And so I kind of want to fit with that color scheme as much as possible, even on the interior of the house. And then this part of the kitchen can have the sink. So the sink, maybe it's right kind of there. And then I think the Chef Gusteau's cooking book was kind of like a blue color, and that can be right up against the wall, maybe right next to the sink. So it'll be triple wide. And obviously it's kind of huge in this whole kitchen area, but it's a pretty big feature of the story, so we're going to keep it. It's kind of blue and white, right? Maybe not. Perfect. Okay, so I think that's pretty much the countertops done. And then maybe right here I can build the fridge. And the fridge could be kind of a typical like 50s pastel blue-green fridge. It can be, how tall should it be? Probably equally as high as the door. Yeah, so that high. And then to emphasize the fact that there's probably a freezer above and a fridge below, I can delete one of the rows here, so it's kind of a break in the fridge. Perfect. That doesn't look great, but it was good enough. Maybe I should, yeah, I'm going to move the fridge one over, just so I don't have this weird corner on it. Oh shoot, but then at this corner, I don't know if I want that. That's okay actually. Kind of looks boxy, which is good. And then let's build one more leg of the table just to reconcile that. Awesome, okay. Now, I think there's also probably condiments and stuff along the walls of this kitchen, so not on the very outer edge, because the very outer edge is going to be the wall of the house, but right inside of that, maybe there can be like, I don't know, salt and pepper and spices and stuff, and they're all kind of different colors, lining the wall right there. And then maybe a few on the other wall as well, maybe some red. And then maybe a boxy white one, like a box of flour or something. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And then, what else is in the fridge? I mean, there's an oven usually, but that's kind of hard to do. Maybe there's just random junk stored under here, because it's kind of a small house. So, she probably needs to use all the storage she has. And then something blue under this one. Maybe this is where she keeps her gun. The gun that she uses to shoot Ratatouille? No, actually she keeps it in that umbrella, the umbrella stand, where she takes out the umbrella and then tries to shoot it at Ratatouille, or at the rat, Remy, not Ratatouille, and then obviously it's an umbrella, so it just like opens and then she gets the gun. But that's kind of hard to model, I think. You know, maybe I could just do the stand. I can just say it's a yellow stand, it's right by the TV or right by wherever. That high, and I kind of imagine it contains a rifle and an umbrella. Perfect. So under the table here, let me just fill it out with some boxes or something. Just random junk. Perfect, like that. Okay, so now let's work on, you know, I can probably do an island in the middle. I don't know if the real Ratatouille kitchen had an island, but whatever. Let's just build one. So a good shape for the island. Maybe it can be kind of a small island, like not one of these massive mega ones. So it can kind of, because this is not a large enough house to have a whole gigantic island. Just some little table over here. This is a nice kitchen. Perfect, okay, so the island's done. And I think that can probably be it for the interior of the house. I want to spend most of my time on the actual rat city itself. So let's build the wall, kind of be done with this section, build a roof over it, and then we'll start on the real brunt of the build. Oh, actually, there's probably a window here. Yeah, there's got to be a window behind the condiments. Maybe a small window over here. Yeah, just a tiny little thing. You know, even the miserable bedroom probably deserves a window. Maybe even two, so one there, and then one on this wall. Maybe a window, a couple windows on this side too. Perfect. Okay, so I got the walls in, I've got the windows in. The windows kind of by the bed are definitely the lowest ones, just because if you're looking at those windows, you're on the bed, so you're kind of lower down. And then this is kind of like I'm imagining a bay window, because it automatically creates this column here, so it kind of has two panes that are facing in slightly opposite directions, so it kind of bulges out, and I'm imagining that's more of a bay window type of thing. And then these two windows are normal, kind of a really thin, small window. This window is a really long one that is on the back of the sink, so that when you're at the sink cleaning dishes or whatever, you can look out the window, see the nice sights, whatever. And then one more normal one behind the spices, and one more normal one right up against the refrigerator. So now it's time for the roof. Perfect. Okay, so that is kind of the extent of the lower half of the house. The upper half is the part that's a lot more interesting. So when Mabel shoots down the roof, it comes down pretty much only over the kitchen, but I'm probably going to end up building the rat colony around the whole town. Now what color should it be? It could be the color of the building, kind of the grayish color. Maybe that would make the most sense, just given the fact that the rats are probably building their whole colony area out of the scraps of whatever's around. So yeah, let's make it that uniform color. As usual, I'm going to start out with a town hall. That is my favorite town hall shape. Right there. Oops. Oops. Perfect, like that. And I think I'm just going to spend time filling out the streets, basically. Well, actually, let me think about this. So what would the rats need in there? They're very collaborative. We know that at the end, when they're all in the kitchen cooking the food together, they have a really distinct division of labor type of thing. And like at the beginning of the movie, when they're all showing Remy the trash, then he smells it to see if it's poison, it kind of shows that they have some infrastructure, and it's kind of like a big factory, basically, a little bit like the beehive. So what kinds of things would they have? They probably have a storeroom, so a big warehouse type of thing. So let's probably build that kind of out of the way of the rest of the city. Let's build that kind of at the edge over here. Okay, so these two things, these two buildings are kind of where they store the food when they're not eating it. When they just want to store it for the winter, or maybe when Mabel goes on vacation and they have no kitchen stuff or whatever, they store it all here, just for a rainy day. And then this area over here, also kind of far away from the main kind of downtown area, which is over there. So what would be in kind of the rat downtown? Maybe a big trash heap, like a big toxic waste area. So if there's food that they know is poison, they can put it in here. Or maybe what they do is, to prevent Mabel from poisoning them, they steal all her poison and stick it in this structure over here that's kind of green to signify the fact that it's toxic, just so nobody touches it, basically. Perfect. Then around that can be, I guess, just like the worst neighborhood, like the least desirable place is probably around the toxic waste plant. All these mice, or all these rats, probably have like health issues. Maybe not that many people live here, in a bunch of really smaller houses that are kind of crowded together. So I guess a rat version of a slum. I mean, as it is, a rat colony is already kind of not a great place to live, but this is the real dump of the place. So that's where they all live. Maybe just for interest, we can add like a tower or something every once in a while. Oh shoot! It looks like they have courtyards, which I don't want because there's no sunlight coming in the roof. So let's make a hole there, and then rebuild. Oops. And then we'll rebuild a building, and hopefully that'll destroy the courtyards that are adjacent. Let's see. Nope, didn't do that. Well, oh well, we'll just pretend those don't exist. So let's continue this kind of slumish area further out. You know, another weird thing about Ratatouille, and I think I've seen this on the internet, in like just memes basically, the fact that there's no female rats. So how do they reproduce? How do they keep their colony going? I heard the theory that they're all gay rats, but I kind of don't believe that because you just need the females to keep the colony going. So maybe the females visit from like a different house or something. So there's like a women's house and a men's house, and this is the men's house. And so if they want to reproduce, maybe they've got like a special visitor center basically. So yeah, let's make that. Maybe at the corner of the center of city, there can be like a series of nice, like kind of townhouse type buildings, which are basically breeding areas. And these are nice. Maybe they have a courtyard. Yeah, they have a courtyard. Just to really treat the guests well when they come. And they can make more rats. Perfect. Oh, cool. It's kind of like a castle area, so maybe there's some symbolism there or something. Perfect. Makes a courtyard. It'll make windows next. Awesome. That's perfect. What else? Maybe... Oh, they like to party. Because at the very... Not at the very end, but when they're all kind of congratulating Remy on giving him access to the kitchen, they throw a big party with all the food that they steal from the main Gusteau's restaurant, right? And so they must have a big, like, party hall, dance hall, food area type of place. And that can be, yeah, maybe that's right in front of the kind of slum area, right next to the storehouse, because that would make sense that the food would go from there into where everyone eats it. So to make that building, maybe it can be like a tower in the middle with a bunch of radiating lower levels to kind of suggest an auditorium shape. So maybe there's a performer in the middle and then the tables around this end. Okay, and that should be kind of a glamorous, maybe orange, because orange is kind of a foodie color. I think it looks good. Perfect, okay, yeah, that's definitely a fun place to be. And maybe I can make a little path between the storehouse so that there's a direct line between the kitchen or whatever in the main. Yeah, so maybe this can be the kitchen. This can be the main dance hall area. Will it make a roof if I do that? Oh yes, it will. Perfect. Yeah, so that's the main dance hall area, and then there could be a pathway between the kitchen and the storehouse, just so they have access to the food, like that. Perfect. And then, oh shoot, maybe like that. Double layer. Perfect. Okay. And then they probably care a little bit more about the food than they do about the government. So there should be a main kind of central courtyard social area right in front of this restaurant. Maybe the restaurant, you can enter through that arch right there. Yeah, perfect. Maybe it's hollow on the inside, just so you see a little bit more of it. Wrong color. Perfect, okay. And then here is going to be the kind of courtyard area. Maybe I should make the storehouse longer just so it extends all the way to the side of the courtyard. Oh, nice. Yeah, let's make this hollow all the way down the middle. Great. Okay, yeah, now you can't really see. Yeah, so it goes as far back as the eye can see. Perfect. And then around the main square, maybe that's where I can start the, I guess, housing. So there are a lot of rats that live in this colony. There have to be enough to sustain like this big auditorium, big storehouse. They got to be working nonstop. And when the ceiling collapsed, the whole thing was full of rats, and there's probably more rats that were still stuck on top. So it probably wouldn't be enough just to build individual houses. I think I need to do kind of apartment style buildings. So let's start with that. Make kind of big kind of towers in the middle, and maybe they get smaller toward the edges. The whole system is very orderly, but rats are still kind of organic, and they probably don't really have they have a social organization. Like there's a hierarchy of rats, clearly. I think that Remy's dad is kind of the king of the rats or whatever. But I just don't feel like they would build like Soviet-style apartment buildings. You know what I mean? I feel like it would be kind of a jumble of things. Like they'd still be big, they'd still fit a lot of people, and they'd still be really crowded, but they wouldn't be identical like these two are. So let's mix it up. Maybe go like this. Yeah, so they can be kind of weird shapes. That's okay, because I'm kind of imagining they're being constantly built over and constantly added to, so they don't really make a whole lot of sense. You know, but maybe for the part where the females come, they come down this street right here, maybe the rats kind of get their organization together for that part. So that part can be symmetrical, but then the rest of it can kind of be a free-for-all. Okay, yeah, so when the females come, they kind of get, you know, the special treatment where they get led through the street where that seems super nice and seems super perfect just because they're trying to put on their best show. You know what I mean? They're trying to put their best foot forward. And then it kind of abruptly end over here. So that's that section right there. And then are there any other kind of central buildings that I want to build? You know, non-residential features, basically. Like I would consider this a feature. I'd consider that a feature. I consider this a feature. What else can I build here? I have the storehouse. I have the kitchen. I've got like a dump, basically. I've got the amphitheater, restaurant type of thing, housing, breeding area. Oh, I guess I gotta build like the... So if that's the town hall, then I gotta build a place for where the rat king guy lives, like Remy's dad. So yeah, let's build the nice castle here. Not really a castle, but like just a nice mansion type of thing. And that's where the royal rat family can live. Perfect, so that's where they live. And then around it I can just make some smaller houses just to fill out this last area. Perfect. Perfect. I think I'm pretty much done for the residential area of the rats. I'm done for the breeding area, the main street, the kind of courtyard area. I left a margin around the sides just because I know that the roof is going to curve in, and if you saw my beehive video, you'd know that I had a big problem where I was making the roof curve in too tightly, and it basically merged with a lot of my buildings, so they didn't look as good. Come to think of it, I should probably take some measures to make that not happen again. Make some of these edge buildings a little bit shorter. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. Oh, and then this, actually the toxic dump should actually get moved in. I mean, I know that I said that this is kind of like the lower tier of the rat housing, but I feel like I got the impression that a really important value to the rats was the fact that all of them were equal. You know what I mean? I mean, except for the royal rat family at the top, it seemed like they were all kind of on the same team, and they all appreciated the fact that they're rats together or whatever. So maybe even though these people are close to the dump, they still have equally nice housing as this. Which is not great housing because it's rats, obviously, but you know, it has some dignity. And obviously, it's a health risk to live right next to the toxic dump full of the rat poison, but I feel like I got the impression that the rats didn't really care. Like, Remy's best friend, I forget what his name was, like Reggie or whatever, Reggie was always eating, like, random junk that he found and didn't really care whether it was safe or not safe, and I kind of get the vibe that that was the whole thing with the rest of the rats in the rat colony. They just kind of ate whatever. So maybe they're not smart enough to know that living right next to a toxic waste is actually bad for them. They probably couldn't care less. So yeah, so this housing should be equally good as the rest of the housing. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, now I can start on the roof. And the roof, that is not going to be a short process, so I'm going to speed right through this. So that right there is the entrance to the road that I wanted to make for like the visiting female rats. And I think that's at that level. So let me just cover this up and then I'll leave it like that. Just so there's kind of an unnoticeable hole in the roof of this lady's house so that the female rats can sneak their way in. Perfect. Oh, but then it does that. Awesome. Actually, let me change the color of that back to a more normal. So that's the house. On the roof, it was really difficult to get it to come to a point the way the roof was expected to go, just because of the curves of the grid. And so I went up, made a flat surface, and then made kind of a central axis, and then expanded out from that axis. It's totally not straight, but at least from the side, you can see it kind of makes the profile of a house. So now it's time for the grand tour. So from a human perspective, you would walk in through the front door. Let's see if this works. You'd walk in through the front door, and then if you look to your right, you'd see the area where the old lady sits. This is supposed to be her chair. Oops. So these are the two arms of the chair. This is the back of the chair right here. And then if you go forward, you can see there's the TV with the screen. And then behind the TV is a big, nice open window, or a big bay window with another window right next to it. Then here is the stand that contains the umbrella and the gun that she eventually uses to shoot at her own ceiling and take it down. But for now, it's just standing right there. And then here's the bedroom, the door to the bedroom. The bedroom is definitely the ugliest part of the whole build. Let me go to the bed over here. Oops, too high. Let me go, let's try now. Okay, yeah. So now we're in the bedroom. This right here is the pillow. This right here is the sheet. And then, oops, so if she wants to go to bed, she'll just come into this room, put her head in the pillow, get under the covers, and that's pretty much it. And then the bedroom, actually I probably could have showed the bedroom from the outside because of the windows. So the bedroom just has kind of this small area right here for her to stand in before she lays down in her bed, but it's pretty much just a bed. So that's what it looks like from the inside. And then the door is this brown color with the kind of bronze yellow doorknob. And then the rest of the house is a little bit more interesting. You've got this kitchen right here where you have two tables, one on this wall and then one on this wall over here. And then this counter is kind of built into the side of the house. The part that's built into the side of the house has the sink. The sink is here with, I'm imagining this is like a faucet going over it. And then here is that book, the Chef Gusteau's cookbook that Remy's always reading. And then to the right of the cookbook, there are just a couple of like spices or whatever on the wall. And then, oops, to the left of the cookbook, let's go back. There's some more of these kind of spices type things right in front of a window. And then the refrigerator, what's the best way of angling this? The refrigerator's right there, this kind of teal color. Yeah, like that, exactly. So that's, here is the separator between the freezer area on top and the fridge area on bottom. Okay, so, and then under the tables there's some storage, and then there's some like boxes or something. And then above all of that, this is going to be the really hard part to navigate around. So this is the city. You know, to do this, I might have to take off a section of the roof just so I can see inside. Okay, so that's kind of enough roof removal for now. Here is kind of the central town area. Let's see. The central kind of courtyard with the main dining building here on the left. I remember in the last scene when they're all celebrating Remy's ability to get them all into the Parisian restaurant, they have a big party in what looks like an outdoor dining area basically. And so I'm imagining that they like to throw these kind of parties and like to do so in these big restaurant building. So this is the biggest building in the whole build. It's this giant orange kind of amphitheater type thing. It's connected to the kitchen, which comes off in this direction, which is then connected to the storehouse, which goes across this bridge and is right here. Then as you go kind of more in from this tower, you've got the main residential area, which is basically a bunch of like rat apartment buildings. They're not super nice, obviously. They're just made of random junk, which is why they're not super orderly. Like, there's not a really strong street grid or anything. They're just kind of a bunch of piles of random bricks stacked on top of each other, and that's kind of the whole structure of their society. It's pretty haphazard. But the one section that is organized is the section where the female rats come through. Oh, let's see if I can make it right through the target like this. Like thread the needle right through the arch. Okay. I can do this. Interesting. Okay, yeah, it's not letting me do that. That's okay. So basically, if you are a female rat, you're coming through, go down this road, which is lined with symmetrical buildings on either side. It's totally closed off from the rest of the whole rat area, so you can't tell how low quality the rest of the buildings are. And then you end up in this corner where I'm not going to take the roof off, but basically there's like a kind of like a breeding area where the rats can make baby rats. And then in the middle there's the apartment buildings, as well as the town hall over here, and the home of the king rat, Remy's dad, who is kind of the mob boss of the whole thing, the whole rat colony. So that is my Ratatouille house, the house at the very beginning of the movie. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, a comment, give me suggestions as to what my next movie reference should be, or historical build, or whatever, build in general. I think now it's time for the rating. So this build definitely gets a plus for the movie. I love Ratatouille. I think Ratatouille is like the best animated movie, my favorite Pixar movie. I've only ever rented one digital movie off of Amazon before, and it was Ratatouille. I know I probably could have pirated it on the internet, but, you know, I wanted to pay for it, I guess. One of the highest quality. So yeah, movie, definitely a plus. It also gets a plus for the quality of the kitchen. I'm pretty proud of how the kitchen turned out. I think it was honestly kind of the only good part of the whole build. I would say that the rat colony was a good part of the build, but it got covered by the roof on top, so not super ideal. I think in the future I'd want to make the roof a little bit higher so that it avoids the rest of the buildings. A minus of this build is that it honestly doesn't really look like the original. And the original doesn't even look that good to begin with. So that's unfortunate, but I feel like it kind of had to be that way based off of the grid structure of this game. And it also gets a minus for just being downright ugly. I would not want to live in this house. I would not want to live in the rat colony. It just makes no sense. The bed is small. Everything looks hard. There's windows everywhere, tiny little windows. So this is definitely my ugliest build yet. So overall, that means it gets a solid 5.
Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for listening.